Yep. I said it before and I'll say it again.
That scene, that last scene.
What does it mean?
I'm the dude, you know?
Get the fuck out of here. No, I cannot.
It's over. Go home. That final scene
Starts now.
Hello. We are back. You may have thought we died or something, but we're actually back and stronger than ever. How have you been? What's happening? What happened?
Yeah, what did happen?
You went on holiday, didn't you?
Yeah.
We were all in holiday. Yeah.
We all kind of went on holiday at different times. You went to Iceland.
I went to Iceland and Scotland.
I changed one letter and I went to Ireland. Simon went to Lisbon land. There you go. How are you all?
Pretty good.
Refreshed. Ready to podcast is the answer.
I mean, we literally mentioned Roadhouse seconds before we start recording, and now I can't concentrate. It's like there are so many scarred.
I haven't seen it, so please allow your thoughts of Roadhouse, dare I say, to wash over me.
It's a disgrace.
I think, Simon, you have to go first because you're the Roadhouse expert.
You're the aficionado.
It just doesn't capture the magic of the original one.
So Jake Gyllenhaal's not a good Dalton?
Everything's mismatched in it. It just doesn't work at all.
Is it because
it's not tongue-in-cheek, it's not particularly funny?
I wish it was a parody, but it didn't even work as a parody, Like, I wish they had done like a parody version of the original Roadhouse, but I feel like they tried, but then they went too serious.
Is it because, and this is what I thought looking at the trailers, and when you know Roadhouse, would they have been better off doing a Roadhouse that it's set in like the 80s rather than trying to do it modern day?
I think I completely agree with that, yeah.
Like seeing Roadhouse and then people on jet skis.
Like the Double Deuce is now like a tiki bar in some resort in Florida. So they kind of capture the Florida thing a bit, but it just doesn't match up at all.
Dare I ask, do they recreate the famous scene of a place getting just destroyed with like a monster truck? Doesn't that happen?
Really.
Doesn't the building get like flattened with a monster truck in the original?
He drives over the house.
And that's why you thought it was called a Roadhouse. Yes, that's why. Yes, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's dating a nurse instead of a doctor. Is that the adaptation? Basically, there are so many things that don't work, but the biggest thing is even Gyllenhaal isn't good in this. And that's hot. Like,
do you know what he does in this? He does that crazed smile that he does a lot in Donnie Darko.
Yeah, but that's Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler.
He didn't fit this film. It didn't
exactly.
Fit it.
He did Nightcrawler. Like, he was Nightcrawler. And I was like, where? Like, you're not supposed to be a psycho in that sense.
Security guard by night, serial killer by day type thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't even think if moving back to the 80s would have saved the film. I think it was one of the worst directed. It's what you said, like nothing clicked. Like Conor McGregor didn't work. He was just kind of...
Do you think it'd have been better if they'd tried to do it as like a sequel rather than a remake? Like in the way with Top Gun, rather than going, we're going to remake Top Gun, they made a sequel that ended up being really good. Would they have been better off like, I don't know, it's like...
He finds a new bard up the road that needs help.
Yeah, exactly. Or like he's had to go to a different town.
I feel like it's so far removed from the original that I wouldn't even consider it a remake. Because it is so different.
It's not in the same Roadhouse universe.
It's almost like a reimagination of the original.
Is it like Sony Spider-Man and Marvel Spider-Man kind of coexisting at the same time?
Yeah, but it's more like Morbius and Spider-Man.
I have no idea what these references are.
I can only apologize. The best describe because me and Michael watched it together. We felt uncomfortable towards the second half of the film because it was so cringe. It was like, oh, you're trying to be funny here, and it just doesn't land. It's like watching a comedy show, flop in real time.
Yeah, Dalton ends up murdering someone.
Yeah,
which wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have been played out like that in the original.
He just beats people up in the original, doesn't he? He doesn't actually kill anyone.
This is like a full-on murder.
He's like Batman. He has a moral code.
He has killed a couple of people in the original, right?
Yeah, but it's so cartoony.
That's the thing, because you almost feel like the original, he had more morals. And with this version, it was more like Nightcrawler. Like towards the end, he did go pretty.
Here's a better analogy that Simon won't also care about. It's Nolan Batman versus Zack Snyder Batman.
Maybe that's the one. Yeah,
because like the original Roadhouse was like a continuation of the naughty shed from Dirty Dancing, where you could imagine like it links up with like all the stuff they got up to after hours in Dirty Dancing and that like shed round the back. Dalton would be there, and then you'd have this side hustle like sorting out bars.
Yeah,
but in this one, there's no hint of that.
Yeah, I mean, I also have issues with the original one, but at least it was authentic and it was fun.
It's funny. The new one's not fun.
It's just not. No, it's just not a good time. It's just not a good time. I mean, Jake looks great. I mean, the 8-pack is
that
still
guy.
there.
He takes it quite seriously, doesn't he? He gets fucking shredded, and he did. They filmed at like an actual UFC event.
Yeah,
I remember
they did.
watching the UFC night that they did that, and it was like, oh yeah, this is why Jake Gyllenhaal is here. He's not actually fighting; they're just recreating it for the new movie Roadhouse.
They did.
He's having fun, and he's making like some mad movies at the minute, and maybe in a couple of years' time, because he's done that, right? He's done like the Oscar type turns with like Nightcrawler and Jarhead. He's done like quite a lot of serious films, and maybe he's just kind of in his I'm just going to have fun with it era, and he'll come back around.
Yeah, and getting ripped, because if you think about it, all of his films have been quite physical.
He's perma-ripped, isn't he?
I think since Southpaw, right?
Yeah,
where he had to.
Well, he went crazy on Southpaw.
Yeah.
He actually did like boxer training for trained to be a professional boxer basically for 6 months, and got into shape that like looked really awful.
Yeah,
as in like he was
sinewy.
Like completely ripped. But it's just like when it's like a thin layer of skin over just pure muscle, and you're kind of like, oh god. There's the really weird clip of him on Graham Norton, and they have Arnold Schwarzenegger on as well, and it's like a 5-minute clip of Arnold being like, yes, you clearly take very good care of your body, you can see the definition of his muscle. It's like, this is so fucking weird.
Oh man.
Well, Amazon aren't doing everything bad. I'm watching Fallout at the minute, and it's very good.
Oh yeah, okay. Go
It's
on.
like if you liked like The Last of Us, and your kind of video game adaptations are something you're willing to, give a go, I would say Fallout is a really good one, because it's like post-apocalyptic in the same way that The Last of Us is, but in a like it's more kind of like, I don't know, it has more of a sense of like dark kind of humor to it. It's really good, and it's just reminded me of how good Walton Goggins is. He's just fucking
I love him.
amazing in it. Like,
him.
I haven't really watched him in
Yeah.
that much recently, but
Yeah.
he's so good. He's so good in it.
A colleague of mine said, I mean, he gave like a 2-part review where he said that the first half is really good, and then the second half he still likes it, but he found it a bit too campy. And
Interesting.
and
Okay,
he said
because I'm almost finished it. I'm
Right.
2 episodes out.
And he said, I remember his quote was, I wonder what The Last of Us fans feels like, because basically he's played the game as well.
Yeah.
So maybe I wonder whether, like, in your experience, how is it different to the video game?
I'm trying to think. I haven't played Fallout in so long.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's one of those ones. I think what it does well is that The Last of Us is. I think it's unfair to compare it to The Last of Us, because what The Last of Us is doing is it's doing the story like kind of directly word for word, whereas I think Fallout is kind of doing a good job of more so kind of setting it in the universe and using the characters and using the mythology and using 100 years in the future after nuclear war has decimated America.
Yeah,
it does a really good job.
A quick dumb question. So does Fallout have as much of a story as The Last of Us? Is it
Yeah, it
like,
does. Yeah.
Okay.
So there is a theme running through it, and there's kind of like 3 central characters
Right.
that you're following through it for sure. Yeah. But it's not. Or sorry, in the game, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, there is a storyline running through it, but Fallout's kind of the big thing about Fallout and those kind of games from Bethesda, who are the studio that make them, is open world and like exploration and stuff like that. It's much more open world than The Last of Us would be, which is why I guess it's easier to make a TV show like The Last of Us, because you can just take a really well crafted story, whereas with Fallout you have to put a little bit more into it. I just think I think it's just really cool. It's very violent, I will say that. I mean, if you're not into like gore. It doesn't set out to be like a horror show, I wouldn't say, but like within the first 2 episodes, a dude gets his foot blown off the shotgun, and like it's just it's quite mad, and there's like
A bit
just
like
the
The
idea
Boys
of like,
in a way. Is it
a little bit, a little bit like The Boys. Yeah, I actually think it's better than The Boys.
Really?
Yeah, like I really like The Boys, but actually Fallout, I'm much kind of preferring it. I think it's really
That's
good.
so interesting, because I love The Boys. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think if you like The Boys, and I think if you like The Last of Us, you'll really enjoy Fallout. Yeah, and it's only 8 episodes; they're all out at once. I was reading a thing the other day complaining about the fact that they released them all at once, but that doesn't bother me. I'm happy.
People are
about
complaining that they can't help themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Someone it was an article basically being like, Fallout's one problem is that it all came at once, and it's like, just shut up. Like the amount of people who complain about having to wait. Yeah, like. Yeah, if that's what you're having, if that's your issue with
I'm
this
so
TV show,
helpless. I can't stop it.
yeah, like if your issue with this TV show is
Stop
that
it! Somebody hold me back. Hold my finger back from the remote.
Basically, what you're saying is you're complaining that it was so good that you wanted to watch it all at once, and I'm sure that it's like tongue in cheek, and that's the point of the article, right? Is that it's so good, but would it
Sounds
have been
like Below Deck.
Yeah, I mean, so good you want to watch it all
So
at once.
another dumb question. So Fallout has like, isn't it like 5 Fallout video games?
So there's 4 main ones, and then there's spin-offs to the series. So there's
Okay.
like Fallout 1, 2, 3, and 4.
So is
Then
this
there's-
Fallout 1, season 1?
Yeah, this is, well, I don't know if it's, I can't remember if it's direct. I don't
Yeah.
think it's directly based off the first game. I can't remember, but
The reason I'm asking is I'm wondering how are they thinking of this like long term? Like, do they want to just
I think
do
it's
like
gonna-
4 or 5 seasons? Or
I think this is one that they can keep going with because it's, as I say, it's one of those ones that, like, The Last of Us is going to have an issue after this next TV series because it'll be like Game of Thrones, right? So Game of Thrones was really good up until they were writing stuff that they didn't have a book to reference. So like they got to a point where they outpaced the books, and then they were having to. They're like the author was telling them what needs to happen, and then they were having to write it themselves. The Last of Us only has 2 games, so if they do the next season and they make it game 2. Then it's like, well, if this does really well, what are we going to do? Whereas Fallout, they're establishing a universe that I think you can keep that. It'll be easier to keep that going, if you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
especially if you've got like a good showrunner
Yeah,
and
true.
good writers and directors, and it's all Jonathan Nolan. So
yeah. Oh, good. Yeah.
it's
right.
so you've
yeah.
got like that Westworld
Yeah.
kind of influence on it,
Nice.
which is really good.
I'm hoping that HBO learned their lesson with Game of Thrones, and they're going to try to delay the release of Last of Us for as long as they can.
I think they will. I mean, Last of
think
Us
they
hasn't
will.
even gone into production yet, has it?
Oh, right. It
Season
hasn't.
2.
Yeah. So
I
I,
mean,
think
they've
that's what they're
cast
trying
it.
to do.
Yeah, like I know they've cast it because there's a couple of characters that from the second game that I've seen that
Right.
they've announced the actors for, but I don't know if they've started filming it. Maybe they have,
Yeah.
but I don't know if they have. I would imagine what they will do because, from my recollection, the second Last of Us Part 2, I think is longer than the first one. So what would probably make sense is to split it into 2 seasons, like do 2 8-episode seasons or something like that, rather than trying to condense it into one.
Interesting.
But maybe that'd drag it out.
I will definitely check it out. Yeah, I'm really excited about Fallout.
I think so. I think you'd like it as well. So even it is science fiction-y, but I think there's a lot in it. As I say, like there's a lot in it. I think you like really appreciate like the whole nuclear war element of it, and there's a lot of like flashbacks to before the bombs dropped in it, and it's really cool to see how they've kind of interpreted that, because it's basically like if the world stopped in 1967 and then 200 years later everybody comes back and there's still all these remnants of like a slightly futuristic 1967 and stuff, and they have robots in it that Matt Berry is the voice of, which is quite funny. Like the episode I just watched, there's 2 characters in it who are actors, and there's a very good conversation between the 2 of them about like selling on themselves and him being like, oh, I'm going to be the voice of these fucking robots that you have in your house and it's bullshit. And he's like, how much money did you get from him? He's like, you probably got fucking $10 million for that, right? And he's like, oh no, I got like $100,000. It's like, he's like, they have this conversation about how, we're not actors anymore. Like we're the product. You have to see yourself as the product and you have to sell it. And it's Matt Berry does a great job. Like he's really funny and it's really good. And it's him and Walton Goggins. And yeah, I don't think I can praise it enough. I think it's really good.
Awesome. Another show that I watched that everyone's talking about, you may have seen it, is called Baby Reindeer.
Is this on Netflix?
Yes.
Is it like some horror thing?
No.
I've only seen the thumbnail for it. I don't actually know what it is.
No, I think you're both gonna love this.
Okay.
If you loved Fleabag and I May Destroy You, like it's exactly this type of show.
Cool.
It's 7 or 8 episodes. It's from a guy. I mean, he looked familiar, but I'm not familiar with his work. His name is Richard Gadd. So he created the show and also wrote it. I don't think he directed it, and it's very based on his own experience, very autobiographical, like very similar to Michaela Cole and Phoebe Waller-Bridge. It's about a stalker that he had in his 20s and how...
It's a true story. Like
It's
it's
a
based
true,
off.
yeah,
Oh, wow, okay.
loosely, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's about a stalker he had in his 20s and how that stalker helped him uncover and expose some of his own trauma.
Okay.
It's a very twisted relationship. Like he starts getting like fascinated with her.
This sounds
There
like,
is like
have you heard the Robert Pattinson story? That he had a stalker and he had this girl following him and he was just like, okay, fuck it. Like the best way to get rid of this is take her out for dinner and
I love
like
it.
just talk all my problems to her. And he basically, I think the story goes that he took her out for dinner and basically just complained about his life for like 2 hours. And she was like, oh God, you're really fucking annoying. And she left him alone.
So
Never
funny.
meet your heroes.
Yeah, exactly. Never meet your heroes. They'll always let you down.
That is so funny. No, this one is very deep. It's I love it for two reasons. So the main one is that it doesn't have like one genre, which I love. Like it's not like a comedy, it's not like a drama. It's like it's very, very, very different, unique. And what I love is the first half of the show is, I would say, mostly a dark comedy. So it's very funny. The stalker, like, the actress who's playing the stalker, is just incredible. I don't remember her name. You know the actress, but she's just so funny and amazing. But the second half is quite heavy. But I think it's because in the first half needs to sell you in and needs to take you on a ride in order to tell you like what happened, like the real story and everything. So it's just brilliantly told and incredibly acted. So yeah, again, if you love these two shows, you're gonna love this. And the one thing that I know is that it actually originally was a Olivier-winning play, and it got played at the Fringe in Edinburgh. So I think this is how it started, and then I'm guessing Netflix bought it. But it's a funny one because you would expect it to drop on BBC iPlayer. It's that kind of show, but I'm glad Netflix.
I think Netflix are probably like, I'd say a lot of them have learned their lessons from when they lost I May Destroy You, right? Didn't Michaela Cole went around the houses with that, and they were all like, we'll take it off your hands, we'll pay you lots of money, but we want to have control. And she didn't want to give it up and went to the BBC, and they were like, we'll let you make it, we won't be able to pay as much, but you can have complete creative control of it. And she was like, yes, that is what I want. And then it was one of the best TV shows of like the last 5 years.
I think you will love it. It's probably the most original thing you've seen in a while. Yeah.
We started watching Ripley. Have you watched Ripley on Netflix?
I really want to.
We're like 2 episodes in. It's a very slow burn.
Is it all black and white?
Yes, it's all black and white.
Is there a reason for that? Or
I think it's just a tonal decision. But I don't know now. I haven't seen The Talented Mr. Ripley, so.
Oh, you haven't?
No, I haven't. So I'm going into. I know the story. I know the premise. So I'm going into it quite blind, which I think is interesting. I don't know. Have you seen Talented Mr. Ripley?
Yeah, it's excellent. I really enjoyed it.
So yeah, this is Netflix's 8-part series remaking of that with Andrew Scott and
it did
Dakota
feel like
Fanning.
a slow burn from the trailer.
Yeah. So like even 2 episodes in, you're kind of like it's hard to tell where it's going to go.
Yeah. Is it enjoyable though? Or is it a bit kind of?
It is in.
And what's the tone? Is it like a drama?
Yeah, very much. Like it's very, it's definitely a drama. It feels like it's trying to be quite like intellectual.
Right.
Not in a bad way. Like I think it's, and I think it's intentionally very slow paced. I think it is, the tension's probably going to ramp up, but I'm going to stick with it. I think, just it's nice because it's only 8 episodes and there probably won't be any more because they've got one movie to base it off in a book.
I love Andrew Scott. I think I will watch anything with him.
Yeah, he is fantastic. Yeah. I mean, he's brilliant in it. Yeah. He glows.
Can we get your review of Sideways?
Yes, you can. Yeah. So since we last recorded, after our last episode, I went home and the next day watched Sideways. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I think if I was comparing it to that guy's filmography, especially with Paul Giamatti, I think Holdovers is better. I preferred Holdovers, but it's a great film. I mean, it's really interesting. It kind of falls into that like Little Miss Sunshine kind of category to me, where it's like it
was in that quirky golden era.
Yeah, quirky golden era of kind of like low stakes, but really like emotive kind of comedy. And it's really good. It's really like, Paul Giamatti's great in it. Like he's brilliant.
Are you chewing gum?
Yeah. I mean, he's so like, I think he's the one kind of like, shining light in the film. I think not that everybody else isn't very good, but like he plays that role, so especially towards the end when like he finds out that like his ex, the bit where he finds out that the ex-wife is coming to the wedding, and then he just starts getting drunker and drunker in the restaurant, and then he calls her, and you're just, oh god, like I spent most of, I was sitting there being like, no, put the fucking phone down, it's
one of those films that I can rewatch many times and still will it to have a different ending.
Yeah, exactly. You want it to end differently. You want him to have.
That's a sign of a good film, I think, when you can rewatch them and still will it to have.
That's what I need to do. I think I need to watch it again. I think it's one of those films that I will appreciate it more and more and more on a second and third viewing.
And then you need to go and do that wine tour of California.
No, maybe we can do that as our honeymoon or something.
Yeah,
doing the wine tour of California. do it the other way around. But yeah, no, it's just a very like.
He's a very despairing character in it, isn't he? He's very kind of, he's a loser.
Yeah, and you can also then see the similarities with the holdover character. He plays two very similar people, and he's just really good at that. Like Paul Giamatti's really good at that. As you say, kind of like despairing, but like a quite like
he's a lovable loser.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. He's a lovable loser. Yeah, for sure.
And his friend.
Oh god, like he's the worst.
Such a selfish bastard.
Oh my god, he's such a prick. He's such a fucking arsehole. He's the worst. When he crashes the car at the end of it, oh my god, it's just like, just absolute. What they crashed the car.
There's a similarity between him because he has to have a reason. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
He has to have a reason to have like a broken nose and stuff, isn't it? So he just gets out of the car and he like puts the accelerator.
If it's a brick on the accelerator, points it at a tree, but then the car swerves out the way. It goes down a ditch.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah.
Which is kind of similar to the van in
exactly. That's
Little Sunshine. Where the horn won't stop beeping.
Yeah, it has like there's,
and that's one of my favorite sound effects of all time. That sad beep where it goes.
There's that bit, and isn't there in Little Miss Sunshine where the horn runs out or something, isn't it? But in the end, the air in the horn just eventually goes out, and you just hear it go. And it's just such a brilliant sound. But there's a lot of films like that from those early noughties. Like I would also categorize that with like Juno, and that kind of like between. What's Sideways? Sideways maybe 2004.
Also, Napoleon Dynamite would be in that category as well.
There's like a really cool like Jason Reitman. What's the holdover guy's name again?
Alexander Payne.
Alexander Payne, like really good like indie cinema from that. Like there's like a 6
I want
or
more
7
of the
year
holdovers.
period.
Like the holdovers is going to be for me like
the beginner.
a Christmas.
The beginners was it?
Beginners. Which one's that?
With the guy who died and got an Oscar for it, with Ewan McGregor.
Oh,
maybe not.
Yes, the one about the guy whose dad comes out after Christopher Plummer.
Yes.
Yeah.
It has a kind of vibe.
For sure. Yeah. No, it's a very like that was like at the minute we're in our superhero kind of sequel everything era of cinema, but there was like a nice period between like 2005 and maybe 2010 or 11 where there was really good, just like good indie cinema and lots of like cool. Like A24 are doing that similarly, but they're obviously going down. They have a much more like quirkier kind of alternative style of cinema. But
streaming killed that genre.
For
entirely.
sure.
Yeah. Sucked the budget away to an extent.
Exactly. Like where is it? I mean, luckily, I guess at least with the holdovers, it's showing that there's a market and there's all for those films to people go and watch them, and there's also still people out there with those stories. Now, hopefully, it doesn't turn out that he plagiarized that movie, because if that was the case, that would be bad. But
is that the rumor?
Well, that was the thing around the time of the Oscars, wasn't it? That the guy came out and said he wrote to the Writers Guild and said that he had a story that had been on the blacklist in Hollywood up for sale for quite a while, since like 2011 or 2012, with a lot of similarities to the holdovers.
Interesting.
Which I think it's kind of died away now since after the Oscars. I don't know if that's because they're actually looking at the case or something like that, but at least it shows that there is kind of a market for movies like that still.
Interesting. Okay. Any other shows or I know we need to talk about Dune too.
I watched Tetris.
Oh, me too.
Oh,
ages ago.
Is that on Apple? Is it
I
Tetris?
didn't.
I thought it was good.
That's fine.
That's the one about like just the invention of Tetris, isn't it?
Yeah. I enjoyed it.
Interesting.
Do you not find it a sort of juicy workplace drama?
It's not.
Is that how they marketed the film? Is it a juicy workplace drama on the side of about the first video game?
I think I don't want to use the word despise, but I'm not feeling Taron Egerton. Egerton, whatever his name is. I
was hoping someone else was going to say his name as well, because I don't know how you pronounce it.
Is it Egerton?
I think it's is it Egerton or Edgerton?
In the UK, they say Egerton, don't they?
Maybe it is Edgerton. Yeah.
I mean, don't quote me, but I just find him very dull. It was fine, but was I doing my nails at the same time? Yes. Like it's like
that's like your scale?
Yeah.
Like, was I doing?
Yeah.
Could I watch this movie and do my nails at the same time?
Yeah. Were you doing a manicure at the same time? Like I think that's the question. It was fun. It was fine, but I don't think it was like very funny. I thought
it was more of a thriller kind of vibe.
Thriller?
Yeah.
Is it not the whole
No,
story of like the
more
guy?
like-
It's a thriller.
More like Big Short. It's more like Big Short.
Yeah.
Like
I
in
haven't
the
seen it.
vibe.
I
That's a
haven't
good
seen it, so-
comparison,
No,
actually.
Big
It's not
Short-
as good as a Big
yeah,
Short.
so it's things are happening all the time, as in a very, very fast pace. It's not a thriller.
Isn't it this guy like stole the ideas? He didn't steal the
Yeah.
ideas and like that.
Yeah.
Was
It's
about
a
him, like-
race to license Tetris
Yeah.
that's created by this Russian programmer.
Yeah.
And
I did enjoy learning about the story. I think that was interesting. Yeah.
Is there something behind the music?
But Simon, if you like Tetris, I think you're gonna love BlackBerry.
I don't know if you're taking the piss.
Can I trade you this Nintendo Game Boy for a shiny new BlackBerry?
Dude, if you're looking for
If you're looking for shit
if
naughty
you're
tech,
looking for corporate drama with a layer of, camp and humor.
I feel like there's been
No,
a lot of that though, hasn't there recently? There was
This
the
one is
fucking
good.
WeWork one with Jared
Yeah.
Leto. There's the Uber one.
Okay,
Quite like WeWork.
There's so much.
Yeah.
There's so many
We
fucking
need-
tech bro made a fucking bad mistake movies.
we need
coming
to
out.
rate this because WeWork was fucking brilliant. Dumb Money was dumb and unnecessary. BlackBerry is top tier for me. Not as good as WeWork, but it was really good. And I think it's kind of funny, like it's very campy. Almost has like a James Franco sort of tone of voice, which I liked. But there was another one that was pretty basic. In
IKEA.
the tech.
Could be.
There could be an IKEA film. Wouldn't put it past them.
I don't
There
know.
is another one like that, isn't there? There's another.
I think there is an
weird
Uber
movie.
one. I think the Uber one is
Homebase.
coming out, but
B&Q.
dude.
There's another weird like video game one coming
Zanussi.
out. You know, yeah.
Video game.
Whirlpool.
It's an emotional tale.
Oh my god.
I think there is. There's another one of those video game ones where you hear it and you're like, why is that going to be a thing? Like, as in, like, I know there's Tetris, the movie about Tetris, but then as the game, but there's probably also Tetris movie coming out, just which would be a really tense people fitting into different spaces.
I don't know. For some reason, I do love this genre. I know it's becoming like a thing, but I love the
Yeah.
sort of
It's becoming a genre in
corporate
itself.
drama. Maybe Succession brought some of that to life. The sort of
Social
like
Network.
corporate, exactly. And then you have jobs, I guess. But
Yeah.
Moneyball.
Yeah, I mean-
Moneyball was kind of in that area as well.
I love Money.
Moneyball was great.
That was such an unexpected treat.
I completely.
Yeah, treat.
I sat down and
Treat.
watched that one night on Netflix, and I was like, "Yeah, I've heard loads of people talk about Moneyball. I might as well watch it." I was like enthralled by that
Yeah.
fucking film. It's so good. Brad Pitt's brilliant in it. Jonah
Masterpiece.
Hill's great in it. Chris Pratt's good in it as well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, so fucking good.
yeah. So apparently there is the Uber story coming out, which I'm excited about. No, dude.
Is that not already out?
No,
though?
it needs to be exposed.
I know, it's good.
It's Travis, what's his name? Who fucking
Is that
who's-
not already? Is this the Joseph Gordon-Levitt one? Is that not already a thing? I thought there was already a Joseph Gordon-Levitt Uber movie or TV show. No.
I think he's gonna do a TV show. I don't think it's out yet.
Ah,
I think it's in
okay,
production.
okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
they have commissioning and everything. Yeah, so
okay.
it's being optioned. But yeah, like we need to see the fucking story and we need to hear about it. Like I want, what's the one that had? Was it Blizzard with a sexual harassment
I mean,
lawsuit?
all the fucking games
I-
companies.
I-
Jesus
I
Christ!
want
You can't
I-
throw a stone without hitting a games company with a
I
sexual
want
assault
a
lawsuit.
fucking TV show to let it allow, let the laundry out.
I shouldn't laugh because one of my
Drag them.
favourite theatre performances of all night is Enron.
Oh, really?
It's really good.
What's that?
It was like the
It was a
story
show
of the
about
collapse of Enron.
banks, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh right, okay. Oh yeah. I'm
was
here
it
for
was
it.
Enron a musical? Or was it just a stage play?
It was,
Or was it a musical?
It was brilliant.
Or was it like this? Was it like the remember the American Psycho musical, where it's a musical, but it's just a play that is kind of pushed by the music in that way.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
think
like
it was
big
like
kind
that,
of
yeah.
numbers and stuff. I do remember hearing about it though. Yeah, it's a movie as well, isn't it, Enron? I think. Am I wrong?
Oh, there's a documentary. There's a
Oh,
really
okay,
good
maybe
kind of
there's a documentary
documentary of
about
it,
it, yeah.
but I don't know if there's a dramatic one.
Okay, interesting.
I find them. I don't know. It's nice to watch a movie like that because you don't want to watch a documentary or read or the Wikipedia page.
Speaking of Enron, I mean, we're all waiting for the Elon movie. That's going to come down the pipeline eventually.
I think he's gonna bury it.
The SpaceX.
I think he's gonna buy the movie that makes it or something.
And it'll be he'll buy the movie and he'll have the only copy. It'll be like what was it, that guy who owned the what was it, the Wu-Tang Clan album? And he bought it. It was the only copy in the world, and the only stipulation was that it could be stolen back by Bill Murray. That was something in the contract. I can't remember who it was. Some arsehole pharmaceutical.
We did have a question asking people to fan cast the ideal Elon Musk actor.
Oh yeah, we did that a while ago.
Brendan
didn't we?
Fraser was a popular one. I remember.
Brendan Fraser, I think, is
Yeah.
the physicality and the look
Yeah.
for it for sure.
Yeah.
When I throw Dwayne The Rock Johnson in there, I mean, I feel like he's just hot shit on everything. Or John Cena. John Cena kind of looks like him.
Does he?
I think so. He's got that
think he
big,
looks a lot better.
big blocky head.
Speaking of John Cena, okay, last movie recommendation, but we have a backlog. Ricky's Taniki. So that is the movie we need to be
I saw the
talking
poster
about.
for this movie, and immediately it turned me off completely. It looked like remember the Tooth Fairy movie that The Rock did years ago.
No.
Yeah, he did a movie playing the Tooth Fairy, but instead of being a fairy, he like had wings, but then he wore like camo and had like a fucking belt of like
Damn.
fucking teeth. It was mad.
I haven't seen that movie. And
Well, you know what you need to watch next.
and I didn't even love Neighbors, even though I know it was a big hit back in the day with Zac Efron and what's his name?
Bad Neighbors, you mean?
What's
Seth
Bad
Rogen.
Neighbors? All right, yeah, and so, yeah. So I'm guessing it's in that sort of genre, but
Yeah.
it was really funny, and John Cena is incredible.
Bad Neighbors is good, I thought. Second one's bad.
It's
fun.
good. It's good. But yeah, we just had a lot of laugh out loud moments. Like John Cena has it. I think he has that sort of Arnold Schwarzenegger energy in his comedy era.
James Gunn is a really big advocate for him, isn't he? He's got him in Peacemaker and stuff, and he's like talked quite a lot about how he's actually a really good actor, and it's not just.
He's not afraid to be silly.
Yeah, I
like he's
think
wearing
people-
dresses, and you just kind of.
I think people
love it.
turn their nose up at people who come through like professional wrestling and
Yeah.
WWE, but actually, like a lot of those guys are really good actors because like they're playing a character like 24/7,
Yeah,
and like
exactly.
are having to be this person every time they're in public to keep up the facade. John Cena was somebody who did that for years. The Rock did it for years. you
I
know.
once met Wolf from Gladiators on the train.
Oh, and was that
How was
all?
that?
Was that all persona, or
He
did he
stayed in
snap at
character.
you?
Yeah.
Oh, really? He was rude.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah.
He snarled at me.
Interesting. Damn. That sounds
like in a
traumatizing.
get away from me way, or in a,
I was 10 and asked for his
okay.
autograph.
Wasn't that way then? He didn't give you the kind of snarl. No, that's good.
Okay.
Oh well.
Yeah,
And what? He wouldn't give you an autograph?
He did.
Oh, he did. Sorry. Oh, I thought you meant he told you.
We boxed him in because he was on a table in one of the carriages. And me and my 10-year-old friends walked down to with our pens and bits of paper.
You Wolf from
Gladiators. Pretty much.
No.
Well, if you're looking for a good hangover film, I think
Okay.
this is and it's on Prime, so it's an easy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which means
an
it's
easy-
free.
Yeah.
Excellent news.
Exactly. Dune 2. Simon, I know you
Simon
have
has some.
clips, you have thoughts.
That's the weird sound it starts with.
Play that again. Hang on.
That is so Denis. This
It's
could be any Denis Villeneuve film.
Something calling.
Like,
It sounds like it's.
It's like kind of
Yeah.
throat singing or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, this is the actual. This is the actual intro. Did not make you think of this song.
Did Dune not make me think of this song? No. What? Just that opening scene where they're flying over the mountain?
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is that song.
I literally locked into that song the minute I started watching Dune.
I mean, it's a banger of a tune. But
Wow,
what? That
yeah.
bit where all the Harkonnens then
Yeah.
float up onto the mountain.
Yeah, walk us through the association there.
What's the spice?
Ah, okay, there we go. I mean,
What, did you guys not know that song is called Spice Up Your Life?
I knew that song was Spice Up Your Life.
I
And it was
did
the Spice
not.
Girls, but I didn't put two and two together with selling spice from Dune.
I am ashamed to say I didn't know that was the name of the song.
Okay, my second association was this.
Imperial Diary, year 10,191.
So it begins with a kind of Dear Diary type.
Yeah, love
Yeah,
intro.
yeah,
Florence
yeah.
Pugh,
And I was
lovely.
at first I was a little bit like, oh, it's a bit predictable.
Yeah.
And I immediately was taken
The
to,
unknown future rolls toward us. I face it for
the
first
Terminator
time
2
since
Sarah
Yeah.
Connor monologue type thing.
because of a
But then
Nice tribute, yeah.
it went on to completely change my opinion of the franchise.
A lot more
That's good.
happens. It
Yeah.
felt it progresses a lot more than the first one.
It
Yeah.
felt quite close to the world we live in today as well. It felt like a lot of parallels you could draw with like the conflicts around the world at the
Well,
moment.
that's the whole thing. I mean, that's the really wanky intellectual thing about it. Isn't the whole thing that like Dune is supposed to be like an allegory for like spices, oil. Dune
Yeah.
is the Middle East. Arrakis kind of sounds like Iraq. Oh, what's going on, guys? Like, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, what's your give us your verdict first, I guess. Talk me through it.
And what were your favorite
it really
parts?
sucked me in. I think it's the first film that's in that kind of Star Wars type genre that I've really enjoyed as an adult.
Well, Dune is the one that all of those things are based off, right? Like Dune is what it kind of, the book is what inspired a lot of science fiction, like Star Wars. A lot of Star Wars is
it's mid-60s, isn't it? The book itself.
Yeah, I think so. And there's loads of them. Like it's a massive extended universe of books.
So I remember my mum and dad telling me when I was a kid that it was like a kind of cult book in its day.
Well,
and
it
was
like having Trekkies and stuff like that.
Freaking hard to understand what was going on in it. There was like loads of names and switching narratives and stuff.
Yeah, but people are just used to that now with any kind of movie or TV, I guess.
See,
I think this is the right time it's kind of the right era of cinema to do something like Dune, especially with someone like Denis Villeneuve, which is why it kind of probably is better than the one that was made in the 80s with like Sting playing Austin Butler's part and stuff.
Bit of a joke.
Yeah,
it's interesting because I was actually looking up on the origins of the first one. And it turns out because the first one came out in the Star Wars era, like post-Star Wars era, pretty much.
The original film adaptation.
Yeah, so I mean, we all know that. What's the name of the director? I'm blanking.
God. I know.
Mulholland Drive.
Fincher.
Yeah.
Lynch.
Yes,
David Lynch.
That's the one.
Yeah, so we all
edit that, Simon, so it makes it look.
Straight away. Apparently, it's like in that I haven't seen it, but they're all in like sort of superhero type costumes, and it's
that's exactly what happened. So you know how
Sting
he basically hates that film. He wants it erased from like everyone's memory. He wants to delete it. He doesn't want to be associated with it, and that's because the studio wanted to make a Star Wars. So they basically tore apart the lore and the actual, what the book was coming from, and they tried to market it to kids, right? So they went after a different demographic to bring in the families in the Star Wars.
These Dunes definitely aren't.
No,
especially the latest one.
No, you can't bring your 8-year-old to watch Dune. Like I was
shitting my pants halfway through.
I think Austin Butler's it's probably my favorite performance of his.
He's really good. He strikes
genuinely
me as,
scary.
He strikes me as someone who's really enjoying how handsome he is, but at the same time, he's a really good actor. I've seen him in 3 or 4 films now, and I'm like, okay, you have range.
I enjoyed how bad the baddies are.
Yeah,
they were really fucking bad. The dude that's in the jacuzzi all the time.
Oh God,
Baron Harkonnen.
Yeah, he's great.
yeah, he was brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, he's terrifying.
Yeah.
And his nephew, sorry. The bald dude.
Fade Rotha,
Yeah.
So good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So that scene where he what is it? They destroy the Fremen home. And then they was like, oh, we've captured this and she killed 5 men. He's like, oh yeah, I don't need to talk to her. I'm not gonna torture you. And then he just burns her alive.
It's brutal.
As you say, like they're proper bad guys, like villains. There's nothing about them in any way that is like in any way endearing.
Charlotte Rampling, is it her name? The mother.
The Bene Gesserit mother.
That's your name. Yeah. She is brutal, like fucking ruthless.
Yeah.
The one thing that let the film down for me, which I mentioned to Ben before we started recording, was the performance of Timothée Chalamet. I thought he was just like a dry piece of wood, just walking around, doing nothing, serving absolutely nothing. I think his character doesn't serve him. But I found myself thinking, so many things are happening to you right now, and you have a poker face, and I just don't feel like this is the character. Because he's not like a psycho. Like obviously he's very emotional because he's having like such a difficult, so many difficult and different dilemmas to go through the entire movie, and he's just sitting there being like, I'm just gonna enjoy my money and like do nothing. I just found him so underwhelming, and now it's the 3rd or 4th time that I found that with him.
I wonder I agree with you. I think he's not really the standout in the film. I think there's better performances in it,
and it's probably because he's next to Zendaya, who's fucking killing
and
it.
Rebecca Ferguson, who's incredible. I think she carries the film.
Yeah.
But I also just think that's a really hard character to play, where essentially his character is Space Jesus. I am Space Jesus. I am the Messiah. I have come to be Space Jesus. No, I don't want to be Space Jesus. Okay, I begrudgingly have to accept that I'm Space Jesus. Like, it's kind of been done. It's a hard one to make people like that character, you know? Like, I don't think there's anything necessarily, and maybe that's the point, right? And I think there's supposed to be stuff in Dune Messiah, which is the next book, which if they do a third one, it's going to be based off. There's some really fucking weird shit that he does, like, you know.
I think it's probably a personal preference where when you have a hero, like when I have a hero in front of me, like I want so badly to root for them. And with him, I was like, I actually do not care about like what happens to you.
But I guess, are you supposed to? Like, again,
No,
I think
you're
in the
not
Dune
supposed to.
universe, actually, is like Timothée Chalamet's character even the hero? Really, yeah, he's the hero of Arrakis and helps them rise up. But this, I mean, it kind of brings us on to the ending of the film. This now intergalactic war that he is about to wage with all the other houses of the galaxy. He's got to get a lot of people killed, and he's going to kill a lot of people.
Yeah, no, and I'm not saying hero in the like, good, you know, Captain America sense, but like the person that you have in front of you that's taking at least third of the film, if not more. Yeah, but I don't know, just thinking of Skywalker. Like, I'm just thinking of characters that were more, what's the word, polarizing. I mean, they weren't perfect, but I rooted for them or I care for them. So I do think it's just performance that I'm like, I actually do not care.
I think the one that you can, as you say, the one that you can kind of closely tie him to is Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, exactly.
Who is also a bit of a moany bitch half the time.
For some reason, I liked his Mark Hamill's performance better.
Yeah.
It was a bit, it was a bit more human.
I think performances aside, I think just as a spectacle as well.
Oh my God, just phenomenal.
Oh God. And it sounds, do you know, so what was interesting was, and like when you play that clip at the start, that really like aggressive like throat singing that they do. When I compare that to Poor Things, which is also really loud and really unsettling music. Whereas with Dune, I didn't like the Poor Things one because it didn't do anything for me. Whereas the Dune, even though it's so loud and it's like constant, like the whole movie, like there's very few moments of silence in the film. It's constantly like, you know, the big horns that, you know, Hans is used to doing, but like you're like blown away by it. You know, in there's an episode of The Simpsons where I can't remember, but Milhouse is playing, so he puts something on the TV and he sits down and it like blows him away. That's basically what it's like. But you're like, this is
I thought the sound
brilliant.
design was excellent. I love the sound of the thumpers.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's so satisfying.
Yeah.
And also like a lot of the prop design is like
impeccable,
exquisitely intricate, isn't it? And they're almost things you enjoy looking at because they're quite interesting mechanically, and the textures of the materials and stuff.
Well, it's cool because I think they did they tried to be as practical as they could. Obviously, you can't make the big spaceships and all that shit, but they still filmed a lot of it in the desert. I think it was not in Jordan now, in somewhere in the Middle East that they filmed a lot of it.
Bit of Dubai, maybe.
A lot of Austin Butler's ones, like the black and white, that was all in like Hungary or Croatia, I think, and they tried to film it as practically as possible. And I think you can tell that because it feels like
it's one of those rare films for me where it's substance, it's style over substance in a good way. Yeah, 100%. like I agree with you, Sophie, in that I wasn't blown away by Timothy's performance, but I wasn't blown away by any of them really. I feel like the spectacle outshone the performances. And I didn't mind it actually. I was swept up in it, and for a few hours I kind of forgot myself.
It's really,
Butler was a standout for me.
I think Butler was a standout for sure. I think Rebecca Ferguson was a standout.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
and Baron Harkonnen and Stellan Skarsgård.
And
was really
the
good.
womb cam.
Yeah.
The womb cam. But you know what? That's the thing, right? So I think what's a sign for how good it is and how much I enjoyed it is that there is certain stuff in that if it was in a lesser film, I would think that is the fucking stupidest thing I've ever. So the womb cam in a lesser film, you'd be like, oh my God, they're talking to the baby in the womb. This is ridiculous. And then majority of Javier Bardem's, like, he says he is not Lisan El Gaib. Only Lisan El Gaib would say that.
Wait, do you think he looks like Oliver Stone?
Yeah, he does. Yeah. I think he's amazing in it.
I
love Javier Bardem so much. But that whole character thing of like, only the Messiah would. It's really there's a lot of like Life of Brian in it. Of like, only the Messiah would say he's not the Messiah. If it was in a different film, it would be comical. But the film is so good that you're like, actually, no, I buy into this because I'm so deep in it.
So, to me, that's a realistic character for some reason. I was saying, like, I could see people that are not as literate.
The fanatics, for sure.
Who's the guy that looks like Jeff Bridges?
Josh Brolin.
Yeah, so you know when he shows up?
Yes.
Like, is he like a freelancer? Like, it looks like he's about to kill, like, the
Well, so
Fremen.
that's what he
and
is
then suddenly he gets turned.
But that's what he is, because he's in the first one.
Yeah, he's in the first one.
He's
Yeah.
Chalamet's dad's first
Mate.
in command. Yeah. His friend.
So
and,
what,
like,
is he
his-
now on his own, like, just
Well, that's
killing the Fremen?
Well, he says that, doesn't he?
separately?
He was like, "Oh, once like I survived, and like once your family was gone, there was a lot of money to be made on the black market type thing." And he
okay.
starts like basically, like freelancing,
Spicing it up.
and, yeah, exactly. And then he meets Timothy Chalamet, and it's like, "Oh, you're alive! I know where the nukes are held."
Yeah.
And where's my rug?
Yeah, that was Patrick Stewart. You know, that was Patrick Stewart in the original one.
Original what?
In the first film, Patrick Stewart played that character.
Oh, right.
Yeah, there's a mad cast in it, really. Like the girl the woman from Blade Runner's in it. Is it Sean Young?
I don't remember.
I think she's in it. Yeah, Sean. Is it right? Sean. Who's the guy who plays the lead? He was in Twin Peaks.
Oh, yeah, he was the lead.
McLean. Kyle
Yeah,
McLean.
Yeah,
he was the lead.
he was the lead, yeah.
Mad cast in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love him. Oh,
But yeah, there's so much of it that I just. It's such a long film as well. It's quite hard to digest. But
The only thing I would have changed in it is I would have amped up the love story between Zendaya and Timothy.
to maybe create more tension towards the end.
Yeah, because it didn't really work
That's
on me.
true.
No,
Yeah.
because
When-
his decision to just go away and just marry the princess. You're kind of like, oh,
Yeah, and then
Okay.
like the final scenes are
Yeah.
how do you say her name?
Zendaya.
Chiani.
Oh,
Chiani,
shit,
yeah.
So Chiani's like
Chiani.
stalking off into the
Right.
dunes
Onto the sandworm.
and looking really cross and
Mm-hmm.
betrayed or whatever. But I didn't really feel that strongly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just wonder, is that a chemistry thing between the two of them?
That's what I thought as well. I think I could tell because I think we've seen so many clips of them online. We see them as like besties. It's like, I know you guys are
Yes.
friends. Like, it doesn't
yeah,
work.
for sure. Yeah, it doesn't fit. They're what's the right way to put it?
Even the sex scene was like a bit cringe. I was like, oh my God, make it stop. It lasted like 5 seconds, but it was like,
Yeah.
I was thinking they should have done more Dune canoodling to like make it pay off
But you
more.
don't give up your water, Simon.
yeah.
That weird bit where she cries and he like licks the tear off his thumb.
I like the no
give
one
up your
sweats,
water.
which is weird. But
Yeah.
I like the bit when the dude catches the little baby worm in the pond and then whacks
and
the
they get
tube
the
up his
Yeah.
shoot down its face.
mouth bottom. I don't
Yeah.
know what it is.
Yeah.
And was it the water of life or whatever they call it?
I don't remember. Yeah.
It is.
Do you know what the film reminded me of? Two things most of all. One was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I think it's got a similar good
Yeah,
versus
yeah,
bad.
Yeah.
Do you remember the guy in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves who's blinded and they send him off on a horse? What's he called? I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
But there's like
I know
there's
what you
parallels to that. And then I can't remember what the other one was. But it's more Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves than anything else.
I said this to Sophie earlier. What it really reminds me of, especially the ending in particular, is, and maybe this is just because I'm associating it with trilogies. It really reminds me of the second Lord of the Rings film, because at the end of it, like, I really like it, but if they for some reason Warner Brothers went mad and said, we're not going to do a third one in a bizarre alternate universe where they don't do a third one, I actually don't think I'd enjoy it, because I like it knowing there's more to come, because I feel like it's very much left on you need to come back and find out what happens. And I think that's a really good way to end it.
Yeah.
But if we were in a world where that didn't happen, actually, I think I'd be like, oh, fuck this. Like, I'm not actually quite pissed off, because there is it feels like, in the nicest possible way, those first two films feel like, you know, the way you have beginning, middle, and end. That feels like the beginning to a much bigger, now that we need to get middle and end of what this whole story is. I don't know.
I wonder whether the very final scene, and I know nothing about the actual like lore and where the books are going, but maybe shows that the part 3 is really all about Tiani, or maybe like she has an even bigger role. in the
I don't
third
really
one.
know. All I
It's
know
probably
is that
like
people
her
have said
story.
the third book is really weird.
I read on
I've heard
Reddit.
about it.
Is the third film supposed to be the third book?
Yeah, and the book is called
Okay.
Dune Messiah.
Okay.
Because I read that, someone gave their opinion. It was saying that she wouldn't have actually been that asked about
The rest of the galaxy.
about what's he called?
What he's
Chalamet.
Space Jesus.
Space Jesus.
Yeah. What's his name?
choosing-
Paul.
It doesn't track with your character.
She wouldn't have minded about Paul going, a different way.
Yeah.
She wouldn't have been that bothered. So, don't know. I haven't read the books though, so I can't comment on that.
That makes sense with the rest of your character. Just that one-off like side relationship that's happening between them. It's a bit of a distraction to the entire.
He is writing it now, though, Villeneuve, isn't he? He's it's not in active production, but I think it's been greenlit, hasn't it? And he's writing.
It's an interesting one because it's a big commitment on their part. I don't know how many are they planning to do because the second one. It didn't do great in the box office. It did okay. They probably, surprisingly did not compared to what they were expecting.
But it's not it's not that expensive though. I think that's the thing, right? Isn't it? Like it looks very expensive, but it's not.
I think it's not. It would be.
I think it's a lot of money, but it's not as expensive as it looks, though, right?
I think the second one was
because
expensive.
They did a lot of it practically rather than
probably
CGI.
not like Marvel budget, but it's like it's 180.
It's not Marvel budget because it's not all green screen.
No, but I don't know what happened in the end, like towards the end of its run, but the first few weeks were rough for the US in particular. But it's like Villeneuve has a bit of a curse in the box office. Like his films have never had a good run. Like Blade Runner flopped, Arrival didn't do well.
I didn't like either of those films.
Prisoners, like no one watched Prison until it came to.
I still haven't seen Prisoners.
I love it's so
good.
You love it.
Yes, I know. I know I love it. That's the thing. I just need to find the time to watch it.
But I think it became popular when it went straight to DVD. He has never done well in the box office. Obviously, Zendaya and Timothée are bringing
That's the thing. Dune is like of all his movies, it's the one with the most. Feels like it should have the most draw and the most star power behind it.
Yeah.
I think given his source material, it was a masterful bit of filmmaking.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think, his box office, maybe he hasn't done it brilliantly, but I think as a filmmaker, I think he's incredible.
Arrival is still my favorite. Yeah, it's in my top 10 favorite films of all time.
Arrival?
Yeah.
As science fiction directors go, he's probably the best one around at the minute. Like, he's the one who, it feels like especially with Dune, he understands the source material. He wants to be truthful to it, but he wants to, he's really good at spectacle as well. Mm-hmm. Like that ending scene, not the ending scene, sorry, like before the fight between Paul and Fade, where the sandworms come in and the nukes are going off, is possibly the best looking piece of cinema I've seen in the last few years. It is absolutely fucking incredible. Like, it looks amazing. Like the sandworms coming out of the massive sandstorm. Like, Jesus Christ, it looks so good. Mm-hmm. And like, I don't know if another director would have been able to do it justice in that way. Or I don't know someone like if James Cameron got his hands on it, like, if it was him, if he had decided I'm not doing Avatar, I'm going to go and try and do Dune.
Oliver Stone.
Yeah. There's a lot of people out there that could have actually butchered it, but he's made it into something really coherent and well, obviously something that's done well enough that he's going to get a third one out of it. But as you say, how many of those actors are you going to be able to get back?
They're getting more expensive. That's the thing. Butler is going to be twice as expensive in the next 3 years. That's the thing.
Well, Butler's dead though.
Oh, every Butler, you know what I mean? Like, of that caliber.
But you still have, like, when you think about the cast that are still left in that, you've got Timothée Chalamet will probably be in it. Zendaya will be in it. Florence Pugh. So the three kind of main young actors in it are probably three of the most expensive actors around at the minute. Yeah. And then you have the older cast that's around them, like Josh Brolin, Javier Bardem, Rebecca Ferguson, who aren't going to be cheap either. Mm-hmm. And your one who's in it who will definitely be in the sequels, Anya Taylor-Joy, another one.
Oh yeah, of course, forgot about her.
Will probably be really expensive once the baby is born and comes into it and more flash forwards.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to Mad Max.
Yeah, it'll be good. But it'll be interesting to see when they can, because that's the thing is when they can, because that's been the Euphoria issue, right? Isn't it? They want to do another season of Euphoria, but they just can't tie all these people down. Right. Like Warner Brothers are going to have to put up a lot of money to try and tie them all down for like 6 months to a year to film the next one.
Yeah, it's been a nightmare.
So it's like, it's going to be quite a while. It's probably be quite a while before we get to see it, but I'm willing to wait.
I think for Dune 3, we need to bring like a Dune expert. Because I don't think I'm not doing it.
I'm not going to lie. I was on my iPad like constantly like, what's that? Throughout it.
Googling different bits and pieces.
I mean, you have to. But yeah, it'd be good to just get some sort of expert on the
And if anybody from Warner Brothers wants to send me one of those popcorn buckets, I will take it.
Oh.
the worm popcorn. Bucket. Yeah, I mean, just for the sake of having one, I think that's just quite a funny thing to have.
Love it. Love it. Okay, any parting thoughts on Dune 2? Or 3 or 4?
Good sound design.
Yeah.
I think because I lowballed it, I was kind of dreading another really long sci-fi extravaganza, and I ended up being pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it, and I really want to. I really want to watch them both back to back.
Yeah.
I kind of want to do them like one after the other. So
Wow,
it's
okay.
like, you know.
I don't want to see the first
That's
one again.
half a day.
I don't know. I think it's one of those ones that I wonder will I appreciate the first one more now seeing the second
That's
one
true,
and being
actually.
able to watch them
That's
together.
true.
Especially movies like that where it is where they I find where they continue on so much. Again, to bring it back to Bond, Quantum of Solace is a much better film when you watch it
Oh, we
directly
need
after
to talk
Casino
about
Royale.
Bond the next episode.
Please,
Oh,
God, let us do a Bond episode.
Dude, he's dead. They can't bring him back now. It's done.
You shut up. You shut your damn mouth.
We need to talk about our Taylor Johnson. Anyway,
Yeah,
just like
we'll do a Bond
different
one. We'll do a
episode.
Bond one eventually.
I feel like your time needs to come, Ben.
We've been doing this for almost 2 years now. We haven't done a Bond yet.
Yeah, and
License to
and-
Kill.
I'll do
We
License
need
to
to
Kill.
do-
I'll do it. I'll do whatever
Please
you
do
want.
License
I'll
to
do
we
whatever
need
you
to
want.
do Bond and
I wanna hear
Lord of the
Sophie's
Rings. We
review.
need to do Lord of the Rings.
Bond
as
and
well.
Lord of the Rings, yeah.
Yeah.
If you can watch Dune, you can watch Lord of the Rings. I promise you that. I promise you, dude. I promise you.
You get License to Kill. I've never seen it. I don't know. Like for me, it's all the same.
The womanizing
Casino Royale.
disgusts you.
Oh God. Okay.
What a theme song.
Yeah.
That's my
Okay.
favorite theme.
License to Kill.
He's got a license to kill.
No, View to a Kill is the best one. The Duran Duran ones.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And
They're all
Aha,
quite
good
good.
one. That Roger,
When it all
that
went-
Roger Moore Dalton era towards the end where it all went mad and synthy in the 80s. Whew. Some excellent theme tunes. Billie Eilish can't even hold a candle to some of those. Amazing.
I think we need to do some classics this year. So
Yeah, for
Bond
sure.
would be great.
There are 25
Godfather.
classic Bonds, people. We have got
Oh,
a
God.
lot of
Yeah.
shit to cover.
I think I'm gonna do like a 3-hour, like a Bond episode.
Yeah, a
to
Bondathon.
which is basically gonna be Ben talking because I have no opinions whatsoever. And Godfather this year, you guys we need to do it.
I've not seen it, so I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
that.
there you
Yeah.
go. Oh well, the second
Another
one
3-hour
probably.
extravaganza. Yeah.
Probably the second one, but yeah, no, we need to cover some classics. Yeah, because and this was what I wanted to say in the beginning of the episode. Apparently, speaking of budgets, Francis Ford Coppola just is gonna release Megalopolis soon. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Oh, this is the one that's been sitting on the back burner that they can't get
Yes.
someone to pay for it, right?
He has paid 180 or like 20
Yeah, I've
million
heard about
out of
this.
his pocket, pretty much.
Yeah.
And
he can't
whoops,
he can't get any studio to take it because it's so expensive.
Yeah, and everyone's
No
like, "Oh
one's
my god,
willing
he's just
to-
gonna sit with it," and I was
Because
gonna
no one's
watch
willing
this
to pay
film.
the marketing
What's it
budget,
about?
right?
No idea.
Oh,
I'm sure.
does nobody know?
Oh, maybe it is out there.
Megalopolis.
Megalopolis.
Great
yeah.
name.
Yeah, I mean, I do love him, but
It's just it's no one's willing to pay the marketing budget for
Yeah.
it because they need to put so much money behind it. Yeah.
yeah.
We'll see.
He must be pretty ancient now.
Oh yeah.
Oh, 80s
Oh
or
yeah.
90s
Oh,
easily.
easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love him. The Apocalypse Now. Yeah. Okay, I miss you guys. So glad to be back.
So good to be back.
We don't have a final scene for the next episode, but we may do like a general movie chat and then
Yeah.
decide on what we want to do, or we do a Bond. We have to take a vote.
You can't throw me a bone and throw a Bond out
Yeah,
there. And
and there is a Desert Island pending debate.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Who's doing it next?
I think you're picking.
yeah, you're picking next.
Someone
you're
win the last one. I can't remember.
Yes, I won. I have
Sophie's the
the stats. I have
gatekeeper.
the stats.
Yeah.
No, not the debate. The poll.
Okay.
Yeah, people voted for.
Yeah.
Ah.
It's okay.
Oh, well.
It's okay.
You'll get one back in time.
Yeah, I'm sure you get one back. Yeah. Okay, we will hopefully see you in a couple of weeks.
We will get back to our originally scheduled programming. We will try not to fall off the face of the earth again.
Yes. I'm going to Greece soon, but we'll figure out remote filming. Taping.
mia.
Taping.
Yeah.
We need to do it. Kind of.
Oh.
Oh, that's a good.
Final scene. Oh my god! If you're going to Greece, we should
Never
do Mamma
seen
Mia. Oh, dude, it's fantastic. You'd love Pierce Brosnan's singing voice in it.
Oh,
it is
dreamy.
not. It is non-existent, but my god, it's good. All three of those older men can't sing,
Oh, my
but
God.
Jesus, they give it a good go.
He is
Yeah.
such a dreamboat.
Shit, yeah.
And you'll see the Baron from Dune in a slightly nicer light.
Yeah, a lot of nice throwbacks.
Oh, yeah.
As a lovely kind of Scandi sailor.
Yeah.
He was in Chernobyl, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
He's
He's in
excellent.
loads of stuff.
Yeah,
Stellan
he's
Skarsgård.
good.
And he has
Well-
all those really famous kids as well.
Yeah.
Like what? All three of four of his
Yeah,
children are all
yeah.
actors, aren't they?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
was Bill,
Alexander.
Peter.
I think Peter is. I think he's a relative, but I don't think he's a.
Oh, I thought he was one of the
Oh
sons.
wait, it's the Viking actor.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Isn't
what's
that
his-
Peter? Isn't it?
I'm not
Isn't
sure.
that Peter's
He
No,
made the
no.
same comment that Robin Williams made after doing Mrs. Doubtfire in that how arduous it was to wear a
The
fat
big
suit like that.
yeah.
Oof.
He said it took like 4 or 5 hours or something to get it ready, and then 2 hours to get out of it.
Yikes. Yikes. Okay.
So sweat so much.
A lot went into that.
Yeah.
Okay. Just stop thinking of this right away. Simon, maybe play the sound effect again.
Which one?
The first one, just to clear the palette. Cleanse.
Okay, let's cleanse.
Palette clean.
I feel cleansed.
Lovely. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Goodbye.
See you later.
Bye.
Did you like it? Did you like that?
Did I like it? I loved it.
I had no idea you could milk a cat.
I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk me?
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.